So my friend is coming to Japan for sightseeing soon, and I have sent some advice on traveling in Japan, reflecting on my travel experiences in Japan and my daily life. So today I'd like to share my honest advice which I sent to my friends to you. Alright, so my first advice is, well, this is not really advice to be honest, but it's a question I first ask my friends. Have you decided what you want to do in Japan? So please you also ask yourself. But to answer this question may be the most important thing to make your trip to Japan satisfying. But this might sound like, the common question. But however, I see many tourists finally realize that they should have made more solid plans after arriving in Japan. They also realize for the first time that they should have researched more. So in Japan, there are, 4 seasons and you will have a completely different experience depending on when you come. But for instance, if you want to see white cherry blossom in Tokyo, you will need to come to Japan in the second half of March. If you want to experience Japanese culture, it's better, spend more time in a local tourist city rather than Tokyo. So depending on what you want to do in Japan, the time and the place, everything could be changed. So let's first make clear what you really want to do in Japan. So my first advice is making you a bucket list in Japan. Alright, so the following advice I did to my friend is to shorten your stay in Tokyo. Well, I believe many of you will arrive in Tokyo first and explore the city. Well, of course, Tokyo is a nice place with many tourist attractions. But however, when you ask many foreign tourists which city was the best to visit, few answer Tokyo. But by the way, when I asked my friend the other day, they said Kyoto and Hiroshima are the best. Well, I completely agree with them. But even as a Japanese person, when comparing, popular tourist spots in Tokyo with those in Kyoto, I find Kyoto overwhelmingly attractive. But however, when it comes to shopping, Tokyo is unbeatable in terms of product variety. So therefore, if you are looking forward to shopping in Japan, I recommend spending more time in Tokyo. However, if you are looking forward to sightseeing and culture experience in Japan, spending more time in cities other than Tokyo will result in a more satisfying trip. My second advice is to shorten your stay in Tokyo as long as you are not looking for shopping in Japan. Alright, so the following advice I did is about where to stay. Well, in Japan, there are various accommodation options such as business hotels, Japanese inns, and capsule hotels. Well, personally, I don't recommend staying in a capsule hotel. The main appeal of a capsule hotel is the cheapness and the new experience. However, due to the recent increase in accommodation fee in Japan, it's not that cheap anymore, I guess. Well, in that case, I recommend staying at a Japanese inn at least once while you are in Japan. Well, even if it costs a little more, because you can have unique accommodation experience that cannot be done in any other countries, and you can experience Japanese life too. While staying at a Japanese inn is a bit pricey, so some of you still hesitate. Well, which leads to my next advice. But I also said to my friend at some point that don't worry too much about money. Well, I know this it sounds weird advice now, but of course travel itself costs money, and unless we are rich, we are always concerned about the bank balance. But still, if you are traveling to, far away Japan, it's a waste to miss out on the best experience by, pinching pennies, right? Well, 4 years ago, I hesitated and didn't buy a 900 jacket. That jacket was exactly what I wanted the moment I saw it. Well, even now, I, occasionally regret not buying it at that time. But you also have this kind of experience once in your life, right? So money can be, earned later if worse comes to worse. But you may never be able to revive that moment's experience. So don't skimp on a small amount of money and make a trip to Japan one without regret. Alright, so in terms of regret, I also told my friend that please make reservation as early as possible. Probably the most common regret is not being able to go because it's too crowded. Especially in recent years in Japan, over-tourism is so much of a topic. There are so many tourists in Japan. A friend of mine who came here recently also gave up going to some places because the tickets were already sold out the day before he tried to buy them. Well, surely, making reservation is a hassle, I know that, but if you make a reservation, you can definitely go there and experience it. So don't be lazy and make a reservation now. Alright, so the advice about the meals was that it's a waste to settle for meals at a convenience store. Well, Japanese convenience stores have wide variety of high quality items. So basically they are so delicious. And my friends also are looking forward to go there. But however, listen, convenience store food rarely surpass what you can eat at a restaurant. Well, since you have few opportunities to eat in Japan, well, I strongly recommend going to various dishes and restaurants, not convenience stores. Well, convenience stores are good for buying food for breakfast and snacks. We are actually making a video introducing convenience store foods at the moment, so it's kind of like, dilemma. Please think again when you eat convenience store food. The good one is, I believe, for breakfast and snacks. This advice is particularly for those planning to stay in Japan for more than 5 days or something like that. Please try food other than Japanese. Well, especially Chinese food and pasta, which are arranged in the Japanese style. There are many flavors that you can only be tasted in Japan, and they are very, very delicious. Well, so it is highly recommended. But of course, it's good idea to eat Japanese food at the beginning. Well, however, if you insert non-Japanese food in the middle of your trip, you will, enjoy subsequent Japanese food experience even more. So please try other non-Japanese foods even in Japan. While some of my friends were concerned about the culture differences and the many manners in Japan, what I can say is, if you live with a kind heart that cares about people on a daily basis, there is no problem. But of course, action that may, unconsciously discomfort Japanese people, as we introduced in another video, may require caution. Well, however, personally, I don't really think you need to worry about manners violations. But for example, using chopsticks, which are often brought up. Many of us Japanese, can immediately understand that it was not done intentionally. So of course, it is important to know the manners of the country in advance. So it's best to keep it in mind so as not to worry too much. Alright, so this is last advice. Listen, Japan is really good place. Well, of course I'm a Japanese, so this opinion may not be fair. I think the food is delicious, the cities are clean, and it's safe. It's also possible to have experiences that you can't usually have in your country or in other countries. So I think the person watching this video, like you, is either someone who is about to come to Japan soon or someone who plans to come to Japan in the future. My final advice is, please fully enjoy your trip to Japan. Well, without that, it will be one of your unforgettable trips. And in order to make such an unforgettable trip, please also watch this video to avoid mistakes that tourists make. I'm looking forward to all of you having a wonderful time in Japan. Well, enjoy, and thank you for visiting in Japan in advance. Bye.